The psychology of people who create fictional scenarios is a deeply layered subject that touches on how we process reality, emotions, and our own identities. To understand why we do this, we must first look at the human brain as a sophisticated storytelling machine. From the moment we are born, we learn about the world through narratives. As we grow older, this ability to tell stories does not just stay directed at books or movies, it turns inward. We begin to create inner movies where we are the main characters, the writers, and the observers all at once. This mental activity is much more than just a simple distraction from a boring day. One of the primary reasons people engage in creating these fictional scenarios is the need for a safe space. The real world is often chaotic, loud, and beyond our control. In our minds, however, we are the masters of every outcome. This provides a sense of psychological safety that is essential for mental health. When a person feels overwhelmed by their responsibilities or by a world that feels unkind, retreating into a fictional scenario allows them to reset. It is a form of self-soothing. By imagining a world where they are understood, successful, or at peace, they can lower their heart rate and reduce their cortisol levels. It is a biological response to an imagined environment. We also have to consider the concept of identity exploration. Many people use fictional scenarios to test out different versions of themselves. You might imagine being more assertive at work, more romantic in a relationship, or more adventurous in your hobbies. By playing out these scenes in your head, you are essentially trying on new personality traits. This is a vital part of personal growth. Before we can change who we are in reality, we often have to see ourselves changing in our minds first. If you can picture yourself succeeding, your brain begins to build the neural pathways associated with that confidence. In this way, fiction becomes a rehearsal for a better reality. There is also a very practical side to this called proactive coping. This happens when we imagine future scenarios that might be difficult. We think about the what ifs. What if I lose my job? What if I have to move to a new city? What if I get into a fight with my partner? By creating these fictional problems and then solving them in our heads, we are building resilience. We are developing a mental library of solutions. When a real crisis occurs, people who have practiced through fictional scenarios often remain calmer because their brain recognizes the situation. They have already navigated the emotional landscape of that event, even if it never actually happened before. The social aspect of fictional scenarios is equally fascinating. Human beings are social creatures, but we cannot always be around people. When we are alone, our brains often fill the silence with imagined interactions. We might hold conversations with people we know or even people we have never met. This helps maintain our social skills and keeps us from feeling the heavy weight of isolation. For people with social anxiety, these scenarios can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, they provide a safe way to practice talking to others. On the other hand, if the person focuses too much on failed scenarios where they are rejected, it can increase their fear of real-life interactions. For many, the creation of fictional worlds is tied to a specific psychological trait called absorption. People who score high in absorption are easily lost in sensory experiences. They don't just think about a scenario. They feel the wind on their face in the imagined scene, hear the specific tone of a voice, and feel the weight of objects. This high level of immersion makes the fictional world feel very rewarding. It provides a level of dopamine that the physical world might be lacking at that moment. This is why creative individuals, such as writers and artists, often have very active internal lives. Their brains are naturally tuned to a higher frequency of imagination. We must also talk about maladaptive daydreaming, which is a term used when this habit goes too far. For some, the fictional world becomes so much better than the real world that they stop participating in their actual lives. They might spend several hours a day walking in circles or listening to music to trigger these stories. While this can be a sign of underlying distress or trauma, it is also a testament to the power of the mind to create a survival mechanism. The fictional scenarios act as a shield against a reality that feels too painful to face. Understanding this helps us look at the habit with more empathy rather than judgment. The content of these scenarios often changes based on our age and stage of life. Children create scenarios about magic and play, which helps them learn the rules of the world. Teenagers often create scenarios about social status and romance as they navigate the complex world of peer relationships. Adults might focus on career success, family stability, or the path not taken. This last category is very common. We often imagine how our lives would be different if we had made a different choice 10 years ago. While this can lead to regret, it can also help us understand what we truly value right now. If you constantly imagine a life where you are traveling, it tells you that your soul is currently craving freedom. In the digital age, our fictional scenarios are often influenced by the media we consume. We might insert ourselves into the worlds of our favorite TV shows or books. This is a phenomenon known as world building. It allows us to feel like we belong to a community or a grand adventure. This type of imagination is very collective. Thousands of people might be imagining themselves in the same fictional universe, creating a shared psychological experience. This shows that even our most private thoughts are often connected to the wider culture around us. Ultimately, the psychology of creating fictional scenarios is about the search for meaning. We are not just biological machines that eat and sleep. We are meaning makers. We use our imagination to bridge the gap between who we are and who we want to be. We use it to heal our past wounds and to light the way for our future. It is a unique human gift. No other creature on Earth can sit still and travel through time, space, and emotion quite like we can. When we embrace our internal stories, we become more self-aware. We start to notice patterns. If we always imagine ourselves as the victim in our stories, we can work on our self-esteem. If we always imagine ourselves as the hero, we can find ways to lead in real life. Our fictional scenarios are a mirror held up to our deepest selves. They are not fake or useless thoughts. They are the language of the subconscious mind. By paying attention to the stories we tell ourselves when no one is listening, we find the keys to our own happiness and growth. It is a journey that never ends as long as we have the courage to keep imagining.